Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson again with Human Relations Strategies for Success, Business Ethics and Social Responsibility, Chapter 15. All you have left is Chapter 15 and Chapter 16, and the class is over. Alright, so let's get started on Chapter 15. Learning objectives. Define ethics, explain the importance of a code of ethics, describe the process of rationalizing unethical behavior, and we all do it. Explain ethics in the context of the U.S. workplace. Describe the influence of group goals on ethics. Give examples of global ethics issues. Define social responsibility. And describe the process of whistleblowing. I know you may refer to it as something else, but in the business world is referred to as whistleblowing. So ethics is standards of right and wrong based on conduct and morals in a particular society. Address issues of fairness, equity, and compromise. Morality covers broadly based, unwritten standards of how people should behave, how they should conform to cultural ideals of right and wrong, and ethical standards are different from law, right? So it's illegal to do, it's just that you actually shouldn't do it. So for instance, in this class, it was a theology class, and it was like this ring, and I forget it was the ring of something, but you put this ring on and you became invisible. So the guy said, he said, so if you had the ring in your possession, what would you do with it? So all these thoughts went through my head, not great thoughts, but if you're truly ethical, you would do exactly what you normally do, because if nobody was watching, you would do the exact same thing. Factors influencing workplace ethics. You see all those there: cultural values, beliefs, and practices, relationships, communication style. I'll let you go through that slide and read over those as opposed to me turning my head 360 degrees to see them. But they all influence ethics. Misperceptions affecting people's understanding of ethics. All ethical problems have simple solutions in which right and wrong are always obvious. Right and wrong are not always obvious. It's not always black and white, and it's frequently gray. Ethics is simply a matter of complying with a set of rules or regulations, where there's always exceptions to the rules or ways to get around the rules, so you have to know what is truly correct. Ethics in the internet. Companies track employee usage to check misuse of company property. Does it happen? Yes, all the time. People are on gambling sites, pornography sites, doing all kind of things at work. You'd be very surprised. Online merchants purchase confidential information about people's buying habits, right? So we say, hey Yahoo, we want to see these people's buying habits. Can you send it to us for a fee? And they say, of course we can. Consumers resent it, and policies and guidelines need to be formulated. Well, they're going to send you the policies and guidelines, and are you going to pay attention to it? Probably not. You're just going to see it, tear it up, and throw it in the trash, or just see the email and delete it. Copyright infringement is using, distributing, or selling copyright materials. It's difficult to control the increasing use of BitTorrent sites, right? So it's very hard to control these things as they occur because it's just everybody's on the internet, and like I said, people don't necessarily look at the things that they're signing or that they're adhering to. So ethical codes and approaches. So ethical codes and approaches. Ethical codes are a formalized set of ethical guidelines developed by some companies for use at all levels of an organization. Ethical approaches are principles of justice, all decisions that should be consistent, unbiased, and based on fact, right? Not based on hearsay. Principle of individual rights, all decisions should respect basic human rights and the dignity of individuals. And a principle of utilitarianism. All decisions should do the greatest good for the largest number of people. So I don't know if you ever saw that Batman movie where there were two train cars and they both had a bomb in it. So just imagine it's 300 people in a train car and two people in the train car, and they say one of the train cars has to blow up. Well, the greater good for the greatest amount of people, or the largest amount of people, would be to blow up those two individuals. And I know that's kind of a graphic example, but you get the gist and you get the point. Ethical codes and approaches, so principles of individualism. All primary goals should achieve long-term self-interest, and a self-interest does not justify short-sighted actions. Categorical imperative, another one that you need to pay close attention to, results from the question, what would the world or my company be like if everyone were to do this, right? So if everyone were to steal paper or steal pens, what would the world or the company be like? If everyone were to litter, what would the world look like? So you have to think about a categorical imperative when you're making these decisions and these choices. So what is your definition of ethical? So what does ethical mean? So possible answers include what most people around me consider appropriate behavior, whatever reflects the golden rule, do unto others as you would like to done unto you, whatever is not against the law, what my feelings tell me to do, whatever is in line with my religious beliefs, whatever is customary in my society, and whatever would be approved by the neutral panel of people in my line of work, and also whatever doesn't hurt other people. All very good. So rationalizing unethical behavior. So if you rationalize to justify unethical behavior with excuses. Basic rationalizations for unethical behavior are belief that the unethical behavior is within ethical and legal limits, right? It's okay for me to take this paper because nobody said that I couldn't. The chosen behavior will work for the best interest of the individual or the company, so it's not expected. And it's also a belief that nobody will notice, right? Nobody's going to notice me making these additional copies for my side business. As the behavior helps the company will protect the person if he or she is caught, right? So just think about that. So if you're a salesperson and you're selling a lot and then you get caught, well, you're going to try and protect them because they're selling a lot and it's good for the company. So ethics in context, so you have self-disclosure, ethical issue when people act insincerely with others to achieve their own ends, right? So you have some ulterior method of reason why you're being nice to this person. Compromising integrity to succeed at work is unethical, all right? So you should do what you know is right and you know you need to do. Boss massaging, currying favor or kissing up, you may know of it as something else, with the manager to achieve one's goal, although unpleasant and dishonest, widely in practice, right? So I knew a gentleman, and he would always buy the sales manager a sandwich every single day. He's like, "Hey Kevin, would you like a sandwich?" Kevin would be like, "Yeah, sure," and he'd bring him back a sandwich. And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You guys got a little lunch thing going where you guys pick it up and he gives you the money?" He's like, "No." He was like, "I buy him a sandwich every day," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Hey, yeah, you got to kiss a little butt to get ahead," and he even put his, puckered his hands like that and everything. So I found it quite amusing that he would do that. Now, me personally, how people report to me, and I'm not a fan of the boss massaging or kissing up. The influence of group goals. So ethical conflicts occur when a group's goals or pressuring overrides a person's needs to help another person, right? So when these group goals say, hey, this is what's most important, forget what your individual goals are, or forget what your moral or ethical goals are. People are unable to transfer helping behavior they learn at home to the workplace, right? So sometimes people very helpful at home, but not in the workplace. To be ethical at work, you have to interpret your company and its management fairly, examine how your personal ethics fit into the firm's ethics, and avoid compromising your own conscience, right? So you don't want to compromise your own conscience because those are the things that you're gonna think about at night. So ethical standards, ethical propositions for the global business climate. So there are diverse standards of ethical behavior around the world. What goes in the United States may not go in China. What goes in China may not go in the United States. Enforcement of law, not existence of law, often determines behavior. You cannot be too ethical, right? Just like you cannot be too right. Multinational corporations have high ethical responsibility and accountability, and the likelihood of ethical misjudgments is relatively high. And a country's concern with ethics increases with the economic well-being. So concepts to remember when doing business with foreign companies. Inner circle, so it's a clique of trusted family members, tribal members, or friends who are at the center of power or influence, right? So those are the people who you don't want to necessarily mess over or even get mad. So it was an individual, and she would eat everybody's food out of the refrigerator. And I know how to tread lightly when I discussed it with her because she was in the inner circle with the senior vice president, and they were like best buds, best friends. And I knew that if I came at her in a incorrect manner, then she would get that back to the vice president. So you have to use your common sense sometimes. Future favors, mutual obligation resulting in the exchange of favors over years and generations, seen in developing countries and few industrialized countries. Gift exchange, giving gifts, creating future obligations to a receiver, also a rite of passage into an inner circle. Social responsibility is acting ethically while understanding that individual actions are part of a larger interactive picture of your workplace, your community, or your world, right? So the small things that you do are part of a bigger picture of what we all do. Includes acting ethically with customers and coworkers, right? And it doesn't just say customers, it says your coworkers or your internal customers as well, suppliers and competitors, and the community in which you live. So views on social responsibility. So traditional social responsibility, an organization is responsible only to itself and making a profit. The government and general public are responsible for solving social problems. Any decision that does not benefit the shareholders is irresponsible and criticized as selfish and destructive. Well, selfish and destructive to who? Stakeholder social responsibility is a little different. Uh, Companies are responsible to stakeholders, right? So stakeholder is anybody, whether you work for the company, you live in the neighborhood, or you're the spouse of somebody who works for the company. So stakeholders are any group that an organization interacts with terms of business operations. So views on social responsibility commits a company to having ethical responsibilities. Affirmative social responsibility, companies are responsible to the general public and the society at large, right? Do some things for the local community where you can help out because you have all this money. Companies avoid creating social problems and work towards improving conditions for everyone, right? So not just the people at the top, and heavily based on ethical principles. So to whistleblowing. So whistleblowing is turning in or exposing people who behave unethically in a company. So laws for the protection of whistleblowers, Lloyd Lafayette Act of 1912, protect federal employees who gave information to Congress. The Whistleblower Protection Act of 1989, and the Whistleblower Protection Enhancement Act of 2007. Obviously, they're saying that people should feel comfortable blowing that whistle. So strategies of a whistleblower. Threatening to blow the whistle unless the unethical action is stopped or corrected, right? So I'm going to blow the whistle unless you stop it. Ceasefire right now. Anonymously blowing the whistle within the company. Secretly threatening the manager of blowing the whistle outside the company unless the change is made. Sabotaging the results of unethical behavior. Publicly blowing the whistle within the organization. And quietly refusing to carry out an unethical plan, and secretly or publicly blowing the whistle outside the company. And I'll give you an example. And it's not necessarily a super duper whistleblower story, but it is, kind of interesting. So I was part of a safety committee for a company, and people could bring things to us. Oh, you have a problem with this, or this isn't safe, and we would fix it, and we give instructions on things that you cannot and that you can do. And when somebody started a minor, small, like little fire, and some smoke came from a toaster that was in one of the departments that people didn't know about, and caught on fire on a little bit of paper. The person went straight to OSHA as opposed to coming to us or coming directly to their manager. They went straight to OSHA. Blowing the whistle, create an ethical environment for those working in the company. Following managerial mistakes, create low ethical standards. Favoritism, falsifying the expense budget, lying to otherwise manipulate other departments or officers within the company, right? And that is actually our last slide. We're going to go ahead and end on blowing the whistle. As always, please go ahead and review all of the slides. Also, read your textbook. Be ready for your quiz. Have a good day and a great week, as always.